I'm Shauna. We grow in Zone 8A, right in North Carolina, right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Heritage Creations cut flowers. We sell our retail and market bouquets out of our flower stand, which is Gully's Flower Shed, right in front of our farm. So Gully is our little donkey that we have, and we post him a lot in our social media, and a lot of our customers kind of know us by Gully. Sometimes they just call it Gully's. We're going to Gully's. So we decided to name our flower stand Gully's Flower Shed. That's where that came from. But this week I did my first DIY bouquet bar. It was for a bridal shower. I did not know how to price it, did not know what I should do. So I reached out to a friend of mine who is a grower in the area, and she does more bridal work, that kind of thing, and she will outsource some of her flowers if she doesn't have enough. And so I figured she'd have a much better outlook than I do, and definitely know how to price a little bit better than I do. And she was a big help to me in figuring out how to price this. If you do or have done DIY buckets for bouquet bars, drop some notes in the comments, let me know. And that way we could all help each other out a little bit on pricing. At least be nice to me. This was my first one, so don't rake me over the coals too much about how I figured things out and pricing and that kind of thing. But I'm going to give you all the details of what I did, how I priced it and everything, and then let me know what you think about it. I was contacted by a friend, and she was doing a bridal shower for her daughter, and they wanted to do a DIY bouquet bar at the bridal shower. And she said, I know where I can get some flowers. Well, I've never done this before, so I was like, okay, give me a minute on this one and let me think about it. So what I had to think about was, do I have enough flowers to do the bridal shower on the weekend, to have enough flowers for this bridal shower, and also have flowers for the farm stand? And then as I was thinking about it, I thought, okay, the farm stand, this is mid-August, and our farm stand has gotten slower as August goes on. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go for the DIY bridal bouquet bar. And if I only have a couple of bouquets to sell at the farm stand, I'll still be open, and then it'll just have to be sold out after, those couple of bouquets have sold. I'm going to start out with, I looked at my flowers, and I knew that I only had two options. And the two options that I had, because this was a bridal shower for 30 people, so we're looking at a DIY bouquet bar for 30 people. And so I had two different options for her. One option was an 8 to 9 stem or a 5 to 6 stem. I couldn't go any more than that just because of the flowers that I had on hand, if you're talking about 30 people making this bouquet bar. So I had to stick with that. What I had available at the time, I do have a second flush of Lisianthus, and this actually worked out great for me because my second flush of Lisianthus is not super tall, but it would definitely be tall enough for a DIY bouquet bar. And then I did have sunflowers that I cut that were already in the cooler, so I knew I had those. Those were the focals. And then I have a first flush of zinnias. Most of them are queen, in the queen series, and I did have some Benaries. And the queen series ones weren't super tall, but they were definitely the same size as the Lisianthus, so that was good. And then so that would be an accent. Then I knew I had Azuratum and Gomphrena out there. They were also qualify as the accent. And then I had eucalyptus that was just ready to cut, and definitely some basil. The only thing I worried about was the basil, because basil, it does tend to get wilty, and I wasn't sure how at the bridal shower how they would keep it wet once they did put it together, and if they don't keep it in water after they made their bouquet. The basil is a little finicky on getting wilty, so that was my only concern there. I was really also thinking of, with these flowers, things that wouldn't get wilty. What I came up with for the DIY bridal bouquet bar were two options. Option number one included 3 focals, 2 to 3 accent flowers, and then 2 to 3 fillers. That was option number one. Option number one was going to cost $15 a person, and she had 30 people. So option number one would be $15 a person. Option number two was for 5 to 6 stems in a bouquet, and that included 1 focal, 2 accents, and 2 fillers. And that option would be $8 a person. So for the option number one, for 30 people, you're going to have $450. And then option number two, for the $8, for the 5 to stem, for $8 a person, would be $240. For both options, I told them that I would have something to explain the bouquet bar. What I decided to use was Canva, and I came up with a sheet on Canva, and it was just kind of a 1, 2, 3 really easy steps to follow. Step 1, grab 2 filler. Step 2, grab 1 focal. Step 3, grab 2 accent. Step 4, arrange, put your rubber band on, that kind of thing. It said bouquet bar, and I laminated it. Made it look nice, show it to you. That way, first of all, people knew not to grab a whole bunch of flowers. And then I told them to label the boxes. I did say that they needed to label the boxes, like focal, filler, focal, blah, blah, blah. And I told them which flowers were which. And to label the boxes so that people would know which was a focal, which was a filler. And that way, it would kind of help take away the overwhelm when someone comes up to a bouquet bar. Now, I also had an example or an inspiration bouquet of this is how I did it, and they would put that out there too, and it turned out really cute. That way everybody kind of had an example. They kind of knew what to grab first, because I always feel like if you grab the filler first, it's helpful. People might not know that. And then I had read on some other things, with just a regular bouquet bar, people get overwhelmed when they look at it, and sometimes they like direction. So I felt like having some direction would be helpful. And I felt like that it was going to be better if I put it together, because how are they going to know, if they've never done it before, what to write down or what to say or what to do as directions? So I felt like that was something easy I could do. So I said that I would give them the sheet, like the direction sheet, the rubber bands. I already had the rubber bands, and I did want to provide some flower food, and I did give them my cards to put on there on the table, just in case, a little bit of marketing, that always helps. So in my market, I felt like my pricing was right on, meaning if you're doing a 5 to 6 stem or an 8 to 9 stem bouquet, the 5 to 6 stem again was $8 a person, and the 8 to 9 stem was $15 a person. So if you're looking at 30 people, that would be $240 for the extra mini, or $450 for the mini. They decided to choose the extra mini, the $240, which actually worked out perfect for me, because then I knew I'd have some more flowers for a few more bouquets at the stand. So that was perfect for me. Great there. So what I did on Thursday, I'm trying to think. Yes, it was on Thursday, because we open our stand on Friday and Saturdays. So on Thursday, I harvested all the flowers that I had. I harvested all of the flowers that I was going to use for bouquets, and I harvested all of our DIY bridal bouquet flowers. And then And as I was harvesting, I kind of knew which ones were going where. Like I knew the Lisianthus, because it was shorter, was probably going to the DIY bridal bouquet. And then, like I said, some of the Queen Lime zinnias I knew were going there, the shorter ones. And I only harvested enough ageratum and Gomphrena to use in the DIY bridal bouquet. I wasn't putting any of that in the bouquets. What I did for the DIY buckets, I ended up giving them 30 Lisianthus stems. Some of them were thin, some of them were only just like one stem of Lisianthus, because this is my second flush, and some of those Lisianthus stems are thinner and only have a couple blooms on each stem. Even though I only promised one focal for each bouquet, and remember this is for 30 people, I gave them 30 stems of Lisianthus, but also gave them 15 sunflowers. That way I figured we're covered if we have some breakage of stems, and if somebody doesn't want Lisianthus, they can use a sunflower as a focal. Also gave some extra for overstuffers, is what I called it. And then everybody could have the accents, so I gave them 30 stems of all the accents, and then 30 stems of the eucalyptus and the basil. But actually in most of them, I did put extra in most of them. One, breakage, overstuffers. I didn't want that last person coming through and not having anything because of overstuffers. You know, people maybe not understanding that you are only supposed to put 2 of each, even though we have instructions. We know people don't always read instructions and that kind of thing. And I just worry about that. I wanted it to be a good experience for everybody. It's the first time I've done this. I did give them my cards to put out and all of that. So I did put extra in there. How much extra? I don't know. It kind of depended on each one. But I would say probably with most, there was probably a good 10 extra with most. So that way I felt covered. Made me feel better. I had the extra. It made me feel better. And again, I wanted the customer to be happy who purchased all of the flowers, and I wanted the people there making the bouquets to be happy. You know what's sad is when you're trying to record your video and your phone won't let you do it anymore because your phone storage is full. Yep, full. It's from all the videos. And yes, I'm terrible about going back and erasing all of my videos that I've done before, because I think I might need them. Like maybe go back and put together some other ones and make a video. I don't even know. Don't even ask me. Anyway, I just had to stop while recording this and delete a bunch of videos so that I could finish this video. That's why now it's gotten darker. And now I kind of have forgotten where I am. So I think this is really the end. I think I just needed to wrap this up and say that I think if people are interested, the DIY Bouquet Bar could be profitable. You don't have to arrange your bouquets. All you have to do is cut them, have the right number of stems, and send them off into the world and let other people arrange them. So who knows? I'm not quite sure exactly how I would market them at this point, but it was interesting. It was a good learning curve, and I hope this helps somebody. If you've done a DIY bouquet bar where you've cut all the stems and you do that kind of thing, if you'll put in the comments and maybe how you do it and that kind of thing, that would be perfect, because this was my very first one. This was the only way I knew how to do it. I just kind of winged it. I just kind of flew by the seat of my pants and did the best I could. And so I would love to hear from someone that actually does this and how you, for one, market it, 2, how you price it, and I'm guessing that it's probably profitable is what I would think, because your time and labor is spent in obviously cutting the flowers, but you're going to do that anyway if you're going to make bouquets, and obviously you're growing the flowers, so you've got to cut them anyway, harvest them. And let me know where you are. Again, I'm in zone 8A. I'm in North Carolina. I'm outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm not sure how much people would pay, meaning it is for a shower, a bridal shower. So I'm wondering if you're having to get together with your girlfriends and it's kind of a fun night with the girlfriends, would you pay $15 each for a bigger bouquet, or even more than that? That's my question. So if you do this, let me know. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this, and if you've done it, and if you're doing it presently, and what you charge.